Hey everyone, it's Jeffrey, and welcome to this video where we will learn how to read Erhu sheet music using the JianPu notation system. To get started, let's go over some basic music concepts. First, every musical note has two important characteristics: pitch and duration. So regardless of the notation system that we use, whether it be the Western notation system or the JianPu notation system, all of these pitches can be represented with the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A again, which it will repeat. Now, each note can be raised a half step with a sharp, or lowered by a half step with a flat. However, E and F as well as B and C have a semitone relationship since they're only half a step apart. So if you were to raise half a step from E, you automatically get an F. And if you lower F by half a step, you automatically get an E. Same thing for B and C. Now, let's talk about the two common ways that music is written. In Western music notation, we use a set of 5 horizontal lines called a staff. As you move up the staff, the pitch goes higher, and as you move down the staff, the pitch goes lower. Simultaneously, the type of symbol used to represent the note will dictate what the duration of each note will be. For Erhu, however, we use a different system called the JianPu notation system, which basically translates to simple score. Instead of writing note symbols on this staff, we use numbers to represent the notes, where higher numbers mean higher pitches. And for the duration of the note, we use lines underneath the numbers to represent whether it's a quarter note, eighth note, or 16th note, so on and so forth. So for a lot of people, using the JianPu notation system is actually a lot quicker and easier to pick up, especially when just starting out, since we don't have to use so many different types of symbols to represent different types of notes. So when you begin learning the Erhu, a lot of the repertoire that you will see will be written in the key of D. In the key of D, D serves as the tonic or root note of the D major scale, or Do in solfege. So on Erhu sheet music in the key of D, Do is represented by 1. And Re would be 2, Mi would be 3, Fa will be 4, So will be 5, La will be 6, Ti will be 7, and then we're back to Do as 1, but a special one with a dot on top. So when we're going up an octave using the JianPu notation system, we would add a dot on top of the number. If we're going down 1 octave, then we're going to add a dot underneath the number. So in Erhu sheet music, you'll often see D equals 1 on top of the score, which simply means that whenever you see a 1 on the sheet music, you're going to play a D. So by understanding this concept, let's take a look at the Erhu. So the Erhu is tuned to D for the inner string and A on the outer string. So if we were to play in the key of D and we see a score where D equals 1, every single time we see 1, we're just going to play the open inner string, D. And knowing that A is 5 steps above D, D, E, F sharp, G, A, every single time we see a 5, we can simply play the outer string. So earlier on, we talked about the relationship between the notes E and F and B and C being only half a step apart, or a semitone apart. When we're using the JianPu notation system, we can understand that 3 and 4 have this relationship. So 3 and 4 is a semitone apart, as well as 7 and 1. So for example, in the case that we're playing in the key of C, if C were to equal 1, D would be 2, E would be 3, F would be 4, and that's why you see 3 and 4 have that semitone relationship. 5 would be G, 6 would be A, 7 would be B, and then C would be 1, which is why the 7 and 1 also have that semitone relationship. So with this pattern of whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, we can apply that to other keys as well. So in the case of the key of D, when we see a 1, we're playing the inner string D. When we're playing 2, it would be the first finger down, a whole step from the qianjing. When we're playing the next note, a 3, it would have to be F sharp and not F natural, since we need to follow this pattern of whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Now earlier on, we briefly touched upon how we represent the length of the notes in JianPu notation. The difference between JianPu notation and Western notation is that to represent the duration of each note, we would use lines written underneath the numbers used to represent each note. Furthermore, if we add a dot beside a note, then it would add half the original note's value, meaning that if we add a dot beside a quarter note, the total value of that note will be a quarter note plus an eighth note. Pretty simple, right? Now, here's a quick list of some other very commonly used symbols that we use in the JianPu system to get you started with reading Erhu sheet music. Now, one last thing with the JianPu notation system is that we use a movable Do system, meaning that if we have a piece of music in the key of G, where G equals 1, every single time we see 1, we would play G. So that's why it's pretty important for us to get a good understanding of not only the JianPu notation system, but also the Western notation system. That way, if we were to get a piece of music that's in a completely different key, by understanding where the notes are using the Western notation system, we can easily pick up where we should be placing our fingers when we have a piece of music in the JianPu notation system. I hope this video helps you get comfortable with reading Erhu sheet music, and feel free to always revisit this video for a refresher. Thanks for watching, and happy practicing!